Welcome to Turks and Jerks, our weekly recap of the National Football League. Week 4 in the books, a record-setting week in the NFL. At least some numbers that were absolutely off the charts, including from Matt Ryan, Ben Roethlisberger, Julio Jones, even going back to Thursday Night Football, AJ Green had a monstrous game. And if you look at the leaderboard in terms of the stats this week, I mean, just a quick, we're going to start off with Turks, because you can name any one of these quarterbacks, but Matt Ryan, 28 of 37 for 503 yards. Ben Roethlisberger only missed 5 of his passes on his way to 5 touchdowns, I believe almost all in the first half. Le'Veon Bell returned to be an all-purpose monster. And in terms of the games itself, there's some fun jerks to choose later on, but Ben, let's start in the end, your Turk of the week.
I have a lot. So let me start by saying
Your
angry
Turks
day for you,
of the
huh?
week.
I have Turks of the week.
Yeah.
No, this was the most important week of the year. Mm-hmm. I mean, 2 good teams didn't play in the Eagles and the Packers, but we learned a lot this week. Mm-hmm. Like, this was a week of, okay, the season has begun, and now we have some storylines. And teams may have time to reverse those storylines, but here's what we learned. You mentioned to it. Falcons are probably good. This doesn't
On offense.
Yeah, okay, but I mean, and they made a big play there when it mattered on defense, when inexplicably the Panthers had the ball and a chance to tie the game with a 2-point conversion. But here's what we know. They're a rare combination of an ability to run the ball and an ability to throw the ball and a lot of weapons. And a quarterback who, it isn't totally surprising to see him doing this well. We were more surprised that he didn't get to that level. Like, he seemed like he was about to be at that level, and then he definitely took a step back last year in that puzzling 8-8 season. They've now beaten the Panthers twice since they knocked the Panthers off their perfect season last year. Mm-hmm. So they have the Panthers number, and it just sort of suggests that this is, again, not an 8-8 team. This is a good team that is going to be an interesting team to pay attention to and follow. Here's what else we've learned from the NFC this year. Carolina Panthers, Arizona Cardinals, something is really wrong. They have no identity. Both of them might straighten it out. I actually feel more confident that Arizona will straighten it out than Carolina, and both may end up being in the playoff hunt. But 1-3 is a tough hole to dig yourself out of. That's 9-3 just to go 10-6, right? So I mean, you got to start playing well right now. And neither of them look like they're capable of going 9-3. And the Cardinals have lost their home field advantage. What are the Panthers? Like, what are they? It's like the thing that we thought might happen last year where, hey, they let everybody go. Who's he going to throw to? And we know they have some better receivers now.
Secondary just doesn't seem the same at all.
Yeah, maybe Josh.
Josh Norman was making a difference in that defense, although I'm not sure what he's doing so much in Washington.
I don't know if it's...
He had a great interception this week.
Yeah, sure, it's money and everything, but
fair
then
enough.
people worry about paying guys or even dealing with their egos. I'm not sure which one it was. Maybe there was an official story about Josh Norman, but when I heard about him leaving, I was like, well, why?
Right.
What is he doing? Well, because he's a loudmouth? Because he gets in fights in practice?
If I'm remembering correctly, the backstory on that was that it was sort of mishandled. I mean, it was negotiation, free agent, so or he was it was about franchising him. And anyway, it was a number, but they wanted to pay him a lot of money. They were willing to pay him a lot of money, and then when it appeared, he might actually leave, they tried to scramble it. So it may have been poorly handled, but they weren't comfortable.
It wasn't like...
They weren't like, we're done with you.
Yeah,
right. I mean, but they ended up mishandling it, obviously, because he plays somewhere else, and that's a big weakness. And when you could win the Super Bowl, you probably ought to take advantage of your opportunity to win the Super Bowl. And pretty clearly, they were capable of winning the Super Bowl since they were in it. And favored, if I'm not mistaken. Weren't they favorites in that game? I think they were, yeah. Sure, they must have been. They were 15-1. Although I don't really remember. It was that long ago. I don't remember anything. But Arizona and Carolina, something's wrong. These are supposed to be 2 of the 3 best teams in football, if not 1 and 2, and something's wrong with them.
That's what everyone sees the NFC Championship matchup.
That's right.
It happened, obviously, before.
And here we are, the Cardinals unable to win at home. They had like one of the 2 or 3 best home field advantages in the league. I mean, they just lost to the Rams and Case Keenum at home in a game they dominated by the numbers. Dominated. Same thing with the...
Because Case Keenum is a star.
Yeah, that's right. Case Keenum is definitely a star. Everybody can see that. I mean, the Rams turned the ball over 4 times. How did they win that game? I mean, some of the numbers in that game, like Cardinals 26-12 in first downs, 420 to 288 in total yards, 32-28 time of possessions, 4 turnovers to 2. But man, you get that one moment, you get that one big play, that little out to Brian Quick, and then all of a sudden it's 65 yards. It's like a punt return, you know, and all of a sudden you get the score. So
because Case Keenum threw an awesome pass.
another thing we learned. Another thing we learned this week. But we also know that if he cuts down on if he eliminates the turnovers, a really good defense, a good running back, and which he hasn't really showed yet this year, but everybody knows that he's capable, and a quarterback who doesn't turn the ball over. If Keenum can eliminate those picks, then you know things break the right way. You can be at 9-7, 10-16.
It's one of those weeks where you like it's the tipping point. The first week it was disastrous on both sides of the ball, right? So the defense actually continues to look from what we've seen before in previous years with the Rams defense looking like, and if they have to continue to carry it to this degree, we know that sometimes weaker offenses and then stronger defenses, but then at least the offense puts up something. And then again last week they did. This week they looked a little shaky again, I believe.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
then honestly, that like the first touchdown pass wasn't a touchdown pass. It's one of the ones where I'm like, oh, it was a pass and then a touchdown run.
Good throw, and
you know,
that's
what
a missed
made the
tackle and a touchdown run.
So this guy gets credit for a 65-yard touchdown pass when it was a 12-yard pass. But fine, whatever. I'm not going to beef too much. But there has to be a tipping point where this can't happen all season or else it's going to fall apart. The defense can't be on the field that much and have to keep picking up your garbage.
That's why they can't have four. Obviously, nobody can have four turnovers. They need to have one or no turnovers. That's how they're going to win with this way, because otherwise, you're right. It's not going to. But you see why coaches were so up on Brian Quick and why Fisher would scream at him, because like that guy's big and strong, and so he's hard to tackle. That's why he broke that tackle. That guy's hard to tackle. And so anyway, but the same thing. And then another thing we learned this week is that West Coast teams coming east have traditionally had a tough time playing.
Not anymore.
And Seattle and Oakland, those were right to lose, because you're going into places with competent teams.
Yeah.
And Seattle clearly not playing its best. I mean, I had the Jets in that game. I thought that was an easy win. Now, the Ravens did the exact same thing the Cardinals did to the Rams. The Ravens dominated that game. Time of possession 35-25, 25-13 in first downs, 412 to 261 over the Raiders. And everyone who knows football thought, oh, Joe Flacco's going to, this game ends with a Justin Tucker field goal. It's just whether it's 50 or 38 yards and the Ravens win this game. But they stopped him.
Yeah.
They stopped him. They legitimately stopped him. No late tripping penalty that set up a 3rd and 25. Like, they just stopped him. And they hit him, and they hit him hard, and they hit him clean, and Aiken didn't catch that ball, and that's that.
Before that play happened, and that entire series happened, Steve Smith Sr. outran. I thought this was like an amazing moment. This guy is in his mid-30s, and he outran the entire.
Upper 30s.
Yeah.
Outran the entire Oakland secondary after
retire.
breaking a tackle, and you're going like, he still has the legs. He's probably the best old man wide receiver in the game. Like him and Larry Fitzgerald are still playing like upper level.
And he's way older than Larry Fitzgerald, too.
I think Fitzgerald's 33. So
I think he's 30.
Steve Smith is like 36, 37.
He added
37,
senior to the back of his jersey just to let you know how old
Yeah,
he is.
He added senior. So did Terrell Pryor.
Yeah, his dad's name. Steve Smith's dad's name's Michael, right? He's not. I mean, his kid. I screwed it up. God damn it. So I know you're going to mention Michael Crabtree as your Turk of the Week. But we learned a little something about Michael Crabtree too.
No, I think you mentioned.
I have a different reason.
Oh, you do? Okay, so let's mention Michael Crabtree, right? So, you have Carr. So Michael Crabtree, who is F up, right? He untapped potential, given up on by the 49ers. Moments where you're like a 10th player taken in the draft.
Right. Okay.
A pain in the ass in college. A pain in the ass with the Niners. Unfulfilled potential. Constantly getting dumb penalties, right? And then there'll be games when you're like, oh, wait a minute, maybe he's good. But essentially, cast aside, signed for I think last year by the Raiders to an incredibly small contract, right? And then not only 7 for 88, 3 touchdowns.
Great
but that catch and the thing that is an old school NFL catch, like over the middle, going to take a massive hit.
Yeah.
Because he's not that fast, so his thing has to be the toughness and the hands over the middle. I just mean like he's not so much an F up that like he's
Johnny Manziel.
He's not right. He's not Johnny Manziel, but obviously he's a pain in the ass. In a world of professional athletes who are frequently pains in the ass, he crosses some extra threshold, right? But he's good. He's good. And if he can not, like he had that incredibly dumb penalty a couple of weeks ago. So anyway, and then other thing, the Cowboys, like, man. So I'll get to now here. I got 2 Turks.
Who are
this
your
week.
Turks?
So
I'm just curious.
These are my Turks. I'm just saying, I was so fascinated by what we learned this week. So here are my Turks quickly. Here's one nobody had coming. Zach Brown of Buffalo, linebacker, 18 tackles, a sack, 2 forced fumbles.
18 tackles.
Yeah,
But
18.
this has been a trend. It's not just this week. For
No,
Zach Brown. He's been doing this all season and the second half of last season.
He's a good player. And granted, Jacoby Brissett is no Jimmy Garoppolo.
They've finally caught up to them.
It finally caught up to them, but the Bills were looking at 0-2, and then Rex Ryan said that interesting thing about, you know what we need? We need our next 2 games, which were Arizona and New England. And again, if the Bills are going to be good, you got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat.
Yeah.
That's how teams go 11-5, right? But nonetheless, to be 0-2 and have Arizona and New England as your next 2 on the schedule,
It's not a good look.
and you beat them easily, both.
Yeah.
You took them apart. You won. Now again,
With the whole Sammy Watkins constant injury worries, you're losing one of your weapons.
Yeah, so Zach Brown and a beast. He forced that big fumble before the Patriots' only meaningful scoring drive. I want to give him credit. And then Dak Prescott, because, he still hasn't thrown an interception. You're down, this is when you're a rookie quarterback and things have gone well, and then you're down 14-0 on the road. I got it. It's not a good team that you're playing, but it's still on the road. In the NFL, the 49ers are not incompetent. We saw the Monday night game, right? This is a game you lose. This is when things fall apart. It's when you force a ball, you force a pick. Oh, now it's 21-0, and now we've really lost. He didn't. Then they just dominated the rest of that game. They won the rest of that game 24-3. And he didn't. Everybody. And he has no Des Bryant. And Jason Witten can't break it. Literally, Jason Witten gets open and he falls down. He can't even run. God, I love Jason Witten.
He was never fast. And now he looks even slower.
Oh, my God. But then, and Terrence Williams, who's as big an F up as there is, not in his head. And it's like he didn't even understand what happens when you go out of bounds now, apparently. Terrence Williams is like, oh, no, wait, I can get an extra yard here and we'll cost a touchdown. What are you doing? Right? But he caught a touchdown, and Cole Beasley leads the league in receptions, or is in the top 3 in the NFC in receptions. And that call at the end of the game on 2nd and 13 to wrap it up, that little screen they threw and goes for 40 yards to wrap up the game.
So what you're saying is that Tony Romo was out of a job.
So week 8, so Dak Prescott, 23 of 32, 245, obviously no interceptions, knowing that you're down 14-0. They stuck with the run. Jason Garrett's credit is Elliott ran for 138 yards. They knew they were still in that game. And that guy has the things that he has the attributes that we traditionally ascribe to the seasoned veteran quarterbacks, who are, by the way, almost always white, the way people talk, right? That's Tom Brady, always cool, sure under pressure. Brett Favre, right? But this guy, this is a leader. This is everything you want in a quarterback. In week 8, the Cowboys play the Eagles. And that, I don't know exactly, I'm not a doctor, but Romo's apparently ahead of schedule. But if Romo's ready for that game, they're insane to take this guy out. Now, we got a bunch of games before that. Yeah, this is your quarterback. This is your future. Just stay with it.
So what if say they don't lose one game the next, it's week 8. And the next
I don't know whether
weeks
they're
beforehand.
Yeah.
Maybe they only lose one.
They come in 5-2. Eagles are 6-1, 5-2 also.
But what do you tell Tony Romo?
Hey, man, the football. Sorry, stop getting hurt. I got it. Or you then, if Romo proves that he's good enough, then, you trade him. And maybe a team like the Broncos, maybe they, again, not specifically the Broncos, but a team's like, hey, we're really good and can win a Super Bowl, but we need a veteran quarterback like Romo, and we'll. So anyway, I'm just saying, I got it. Maybe he'll turn into a rookie, but he hasn't yet. So Zach and Dak.
Zach and Dak. JR, hold your Turk. You're going to start off with your Turk going into your jerk for the second clip, because the 17-minute
because I took up
segment.
all the time?
Yeah, literally. Comment below with your best of the week. Stay tuned for...
Subscribe to your local newspaper.
What paper?
Support.
The Los Angeles Times.
Oh, okay. All right.